Welcome to my channel, Sunshine Shoulders. I'm Calvin. Thank you so much for stopping by today. The subject of my vlog today is important tourist concerns in the Philippines and how to handle them. But before I get started, let me welcome my new viewers and new subscribers. Thank you so much for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of my channel. It's truly been amazing. I'll never take that for granted. Man, I didn't even make a vlog yesterday. That travel finally caught up with me. After I played tennis, I went to sleep. I didn't wake up until about almost 6 o'clock. I slept all the way through. And then, of course, I didn't have any caffeine in me yesterday, and that helped a lot. But a lot of my viewers and subscribers, they're preparing for their first trip here to the Philippines. And they got a lot of concerns, a lot of questions. And I just want to address some of them today to kind of clear the air. And so we'll get started. This is in no order or anything. Phones. You have to decide what you're going to do with your phone, everybody. If you're going to bring your phone over here, make sure that if it's unlocked, that you get a Philippine SIM card when you get here. If it's locked and you're still under contract with one of those companies over there, I just want to warn you that the roaming charges are going to be astronomical. You don't want to do that. What you can do is bring that phone over here, use it for the internet and everything like that, and then buy you a cheap phone over here for your texting and calls and everything like that. You can also get a calling card over here. But the phone, it's just as important. Well, not just as important, but I'm going to place it second behind your passport over here in the Philippines. You need a phone here. And so make sure you get that situation ironed out before you get over here. But it's fairly easy. But this is a concern. This is something that people ask me about all the time. Will my phone work over here? Yeah, it'll work. If it's unlocked, go ahead and get the SIM card. If it's not, the roaming's going to kick your butt. You're going to have to buy another phone. I'd buy me either a cheap phone from Walmart, an unlocked phone from Walmart before I came. Okay, because a lot of times over here, when you get these cheap phones, you get what you pay for. But yeah, the phone is very, very important. Get that straightened out before you get over here. This is a general question, and I know you're going to say, oh, it's basic. Will my ATM card work? Absolutely. But what you have to remember to do, which I didn't do my first time when I came over here, is you got to let your bank know that you're traveling to the Philippines. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I was on my way to, when I was in Mactan, we were going to the Tamboli Beach Resort, and I went to the ATM to get out 10,000 pesos, and it wouldn't work. And I was like, wow, why not? And it finally hit me when we were in the taxi going on over there that I hadn't contacted my bank to let them know I was over here. The minute I did that, of course, I was able to release the funds. And then tell them how long you're going to be here, too. And then they'll put it in the system. Because right now, even though I'm an expat over here, I've got to update that every December 31st. I've got to call them. It happened to me a couple of weeks ago at Save More. Because sometimes I use my ATM card instead of my credit card when I buy groceries. But yeah, your ATM card will work over here. They got some big fees, but it works. But just make sure that you let your bank know before you come. Immigration. I get a lot of questions on this, especially from new guys. If you're coming from one of the 157 non-visa countries associated with the Philippines, you get 30 days with your passport. And for some of you who want to stay longer, just make sure that you go to immigration maybe a week before. Don't go too early. They're not going to extend you. I always go about a week out. That way I'm not rushing. If anything comes up, I'm able to react. But you don't wait till the last minute. It used to be if you went there on the last day, they wouldn't extend you. So do it about a week out, and you shouldn't have any problems. Another concern that people have is these child beggars over here. This is really a dilemma. But here's how I handle it. I don't give them any money anymore. I used to, and it caused me a lot of problems, man. I mean, because you just don't know who the child is with a lot of times. A lot of times there's going to be somebody in the shadows watching. And the minute you give one, they're going to come out of every crack and cranny, man, and they're going to surround you. What I usually do is, if there's a store close by, I'll buy them something to eat. If not, I just keep going. I just say, nada, ideally, which means no, and just keep going, because they'll pull on your clothes and they'll just keep on. They're very persistent. And that's a red flag right there. If they're real persistent like that, they're part of one of those begging rings. But I just buy them something to eat. And if that's not enough, I just keep going. But they're asking me about that. How do I handle it? How should they handle it? Are they obligated? But you're going to run into that over here. But not everywhere. It's not as bad as you think. But some places, I got caught down in Dumagetti one time, man. Luckily, I was close to Lee's supermarket. And, the woman I was with at the time, man, she pushed me inside of there. Otherwise, it was about 20 kids surrounded me. I put out a 20 peso to give to one little girl. I mean, just like that. And it can get scary, man. So be careful with that. I get questions all the time about, will I be robbed in the Philippines? In my 13 years, in April it'll be 13 years I've been coming here on and off. Anybody been following me knows that I've been here for over 3 years. It's not happened to me. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And I don't hear about a lot of foreigners getting robbed. But one way to handle that is I don't carry a lot of money on me. I don't carry any important documents on me, no credit cards, unless I'm going straight to the store and back. Because if they take that, you can easily cut that off. A guy gave me a suggestion, and I'm going to give it to you. He said, carry a dummy wallet with 20 pesos in there and a note in the back. And says, God's going to get you or something like that if they take your wallet. But if it happens, just give them the money, man. Don't try to fight over here, because whenever you resist, the foreigners that I have seen that have been killed over here, they're always resisting. Don't resist. They're going to shoot you or stab you or whatever it is. Just give it to them, man, and live to see another day. But more than likely, man, you're not going to be robbed over here. But that's why I put that disclaimer in there. I can't guarantee it. But, as long as you are not in the wrong place at the wrong time. I did a video on that. You're going to be fine over here. That's one of the reasons I like the Philippines. They leave you alone. Would they rob each other? Yeah, just like we rob each other in my country. But that's something that worries people. And I just want to let you know that more than likely it's not going to happen. But just, if they rob you, make sure they get as little as possible. Hell, make copies of your passport, biological page, your license, whatever IDs you got, carry them with you. And here's one that I get all the time, and because people think that the Philippines is just this monolithic place. They don't realize how spread out it is. 7,641 islands. Really, a lot of these islands, they have different weather patterns. They say, well, do I have to worry about a typhoon? It just depends on where you go, okay? Most of the typhoon alley is like central Luzon, up in the Bicol area, eastern Visayas, around Leyte, Samar, like that. And typically, the typhoon season here is June through November. But as you saw in December with Typhoon Odette, I got caught in it. Sometimes they occur outside the season, but more than likely they don't. And everywhere you go in the Philippines doesn't get affected by typhoons. It had been the first typhoon in Cebu, I was told, in 25 years or something like that. It was the first one in my 13 years that I had encountered. So everywhere you go doesn't have typhoons. But just check the weather for the areas you're going to visit. Because, there's a lot worse than typhoons, man. You get floods, landslides, just kind of get a general idea of what you're dealing with when you get here, rather. And this last one I'm going to talk about is a big concern, and it's about diseases. Because people ask me all the time what vaccinations I need to take. Am I, susceptible to catching disease over here in the Philippines? You got to talk to your healthcare provider about vaccinations. But I'm going to tell you this as far as disease is concerned. The only thing that's really going to get you over here is unsafe water, poor sanitation and hygiene. Let me give you some figures, man, and this is shocking. Only about 10% of the Philippine population has access to pipe sewage systems. So most of us, just like me at my house, we use septic tanks, and that's what we use to contain the wastewater. And if that wastewater gets out into the ground and gets into the drinking water, you're going to have problems. Dysentery, cholera, and stuff like that. I was shocked to find out that 7 million Filipinos in 2022 used the bathroom outside. Another 19 million are, unimproved bathroom facilities. And that's not a knock on the Philippines or putting them down. It's just the way it is. But that's usually how you're going to catch diseases, with that unsafe water, poor sanitation. That's why you have to be careful when you're buying street food, when you're stopping at these calendarias and everything like that. Make sure that, the place is clean. There's no 100% way of finding that out. We cook our own food now. When you go to places like Boracay and different places like that, you really don't have a choice. You're taking a chance. So I eat in only established eateries and restaurants, but that doesn't guarantee anything. But they do worry about diseases over here. And that's the big thing, man, that unsafe water. Don't drink that water here out of the tap. I'm warning you, I don't even boil it. I drink bottled water, but we usually just drink the filtered water. It's good, man, from these water filtration places over here. There's many of them around. But I forgot one thing, and this is a big question I get all the time. Mosquitoes. Here's my thing with mosquitoes. If you're near the water, they're going to be prevalent. If you're not near the water, when you're out at night, I would just wear off lotion or some good mosquito repellent, because they're here. And of course, they carry that dinghy. The female carries that dinghy, and that's usually around standing water. My son caught dinghy one time, but we were very lucky. He was up in the mountains in Cebu land visiting his great-grandmother. She's passed, by the way. And, there's a lot of standing water around there, and he got stung, man. He was in the hospital for a couple of days, but he was okay. But with mosquitoes, like when we went to Boracay, we made sure, even Booby got hit a few times in the hotel room because we had that balcony, and we forgot to put the off lotion on her after her shower. But when you're anywhere you're near water, make sure you lotioned up. And then if you're out at night, make sure you lotioned up with some repellent. And you should be okay. I don't have a problem with them. I've had a problem with them when I was in a little place called Louigan. It's in northern Mindanao. It's a beautiful place, but it's right on the water. They live, the barangay is right on the water, man. You have to sleep in a mosquito net. If you didn't get in there at the right time or you let mosquitoes in there, they told you that they would tear you up and put your life in jeopardy. That's how bad they were there. When we went to Sapalai back in last March, last April, I can't remember when we went, we had to sleep under mosquito net too. But remember, that's right on water. So yeah, that's just some concerns that I wanted to bring to your attention and kind of answer and how I deal with them. Because a lot of you, you're happy, you're excited to get over here. And some of these are just reminders that we always talk about. But that phone is very, very important, man. I place it second behind my passport, man. Make sure you got that situation clear. Make sure you tell your bank, I'm coming to the Philippines. I'll be there for 2 weeks from this day to this date. Otherwise, it's not going to work until you get there. So thank you so much for stopping by today. I really, really appreciate it. If you're in America, it's getting late. Before you let your head hit the pillow, I hope you find somebody to intentionally help. But if you're on one of them late grocery runs, beer runs, weed runs, just getting off second shift, or you're on your lunch break, you see somebody in the street, or wherever you see them, buy them something to eat, buy them something to drink, give them a few dollars. That was me on the street, guys, before. People don't believe it, but it was. I was the town drunk. People helped me, though, and I'll never forget it. I hope I never forget it. If you're in the Philippines, it's early. What time is it? It's about 7:45 a.m. on a Thursday morning. I'll be having my live stream, my first live stream in about a week, because we were out in Boracay. We got the whole rest of the day to find somebody to help. Because if I don't know anything else, I know this one thing for sure. We help other people. We help ourselves. Take care. Stay safe. Stay COVID free. I'll see you next time.